All right. Sorry, I got to remove one, guys. Rumble issues again. Welcome, everyone. Sunday Night Ragchew. Michael,
Howdy, y'all. How are you doing? How are y'all doing today?
audio check. Everything's good? Yep.
I can hear you.
All right. Everybody, we have a special guest on the other side of the Earth, the flat Earth or globe Earth, however you believe
Closer
it
to the
is.
edge, if it's the
She's
flat
closer
Earth.
to the edge where the snow and ice caps are, I guess. Um, I saw her video. I think a lot of people saw her video. It's about 12,000 views and contacted her a month or two ago. And she loves to rag chew. And so she decided be a good idea to come on here and rag chew with us. So if we could welcome Susan Nordskog to the Ragchew Crew. Welcome, Susan. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Yeah.
We've got our faithful Chris Bricker on right now. Welcome, Chris. And a few more's on. They just haven't chatted yet. But
These
Susan, LA0CY is her call. And she is a ham radio operator in Norway. Susan, I'd like you to introduce yourself and just a little bit about your life. I don't want to go into all the detail with questions like your other QSO Today podcast. He went through a lot of intricate questions. So if you'd like to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started at ham radio, what you've done in your life, and what's led you today to get back into ham radio.
Okay. I got my novice in about 1962. Both my parents were hams. My mother was a ham from 1941, I think, and my father from 1937. They were hams before they met each other. And so we learned, myself and my sisters, we all learned code when we learned to read and write. It wasn't just drawing the letter. It was also A is dida. So we got it in originally very, very small. So I never really had to learn code. I had it. And I was pretty active for about 20 years. And then I came to Norway. And I sometimes took a rig out on the boat a couple of times, but I didn't really use it. And so I got out of radio, sort of. And I got married, and I had 3 kids. And I live in an apartment building where we can't put up antennas very well. I did have an extra class license for about 45 years too. But when I tried to renew it, I couldn't renew it. I don't know why, but they never answered. So I decided to, I took the course here in Norway, and I got the Norwegian license, and I'd had that reciprocal license, LE0 Charlie Yankee. I've had that for 44 years too, so I figured I might as well use that when it's also a good call sign. So now I'm living in Norway and getting back on the air and getting into clubs and getting on 2 meters. I'm not getting out very far, but I can get Italy and Spain. That seems to be the right direction for living on the side of a hill pointing that way. But I've got kind of minor, not particularly satisfying antennas yet. I'm still working on that.
Well, that's been my entire experience in an HOA here in America. So
yeah,
it can be frustrating, but so that's about your ham life. So tell us a little bit. So you're originally from the U.S., correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think you said you live mostly in L.A.
Well, I was we moved there from Illinois when I was 5 years old. So I was in LA. I grew up in LA. And I went to college. I finished college in Flagstaff. I studied geology and math. And then I worked for Scripps Institute of Oceanography for a while. And I worked for Duke University as a deck. I found out the deckhands had more interesting jobs. So instead of being a scientist, I worked as a deckhand. And mate eventually, and I was there 7 years for Duke. And then they sold the boat, and they were going to build a new one. And the captain was Norwegian. He said, "Why don't you go to Norway? I can get on bigger boats." So I thought, well, why not? So I came to Norway. I applied to the school, and they let me right in. And I already had some licenses, but I couldn't use them here. I had to take the schools. So I took the schools and sailed in between for 3 years, took the mate schools and the captain's school. And then I sailed for quite a few years with Norwegian boats until about 5 years ago, I guess. And then the oil prices fell and everybody got laid off. And I was almost 70 anyway, so I decided that's the end of my sailing career probably, because when they hire people back, they want younger people. So I retired when I was about 69 or thereabouts when they laid us off. So I was on all kinds of boats.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, she did a podcast on QSO Today. Let's see, it's a couple back here. And if you want to hear an interesting life story, come back here to episode 515 on QSO Today and listen to Susan's story, because there's a lot more. She goes into detail on this podcast than what we're discussing tonight. So, but real quick, Susan, on the ship sailing, you said you were a deckhand, was it? And then you went to officer. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, when I started working, I worked as a marine technician at Scripps, and then for 1 year, and then I went to North Carolina while I was going down the coast looking for a ship. Research ships basically were the only ships that had women on them back then, and they needed a temporary deckhand, so I worked as an ordinary seaman there for a while, and then eventually took the captain's paper for that size boat, the mate's papers and the captain's papers, license. And I did sail a couple of times as a master on it, but mostly I was as a mate on it. It was a small ship, but it had about 30 people on board. And we ran around. We went all over the place. We went down to South America, to up the Orinoco River and to the Mediterranean, different places. Doing research.
You met your husband there, and he was on the ship.
Not that one. I met him. I met him on a ship here in Grimstad after I was finished with most of the schools, all of the schools actually.
And then he was. Did you say it was a steward or?
He was a steward.
Okay, he was a steward. But you voluntold him to increase his.
No, but I told him I made him take the mate's license.
Yeah.
Because that's what he really worked on deck a lot as a sort of a bosun and things. So that's what he knew best, actually. I mean, he was a good cook. It's a good thing he is, because I'm not.
Well, someone has to be.
Somebody has to be. So if he wants anything decent to eat, he has to make it.
That's funny.
You were also saying that you were on car carriers, though, carry like 5,000.
I was on, about car carriers. I was on you practically name it. I was on oboe tankers, car carriers, oil ships, oil tankers, a dive ship for quite a few years, ROV ships, which have they have robots that service the equipment offshore, supply boat, research ships. Sort of you name it.
She's been on all of them.
What fascinated me is you were describing the crew quarters on the podcast of those, the car carriers, how it's much larger than your apartment.
It's huge because the whole top deck is the accommodations, and they might as well make big rooms there. So they do. They're I mean, this isn't the world's biggest apartment as far as that goes. It's about 86 square meters, I think. But it was a big. Everybody had huge rooms on the car carriers compared to other ships, anyway. Yeah.
Okay, well, for those again, that's QSO Today. episode 515. Listen to it's about an hour long, 57 minutes, I think. And amazing story. She goes into a lot of great detail. One of the things I'll say is I remember you telling him that you like to ragchew. So coming here tonight is great because we are the Ragchew Crew. And we're slowly building and getting more and more people on here just to ragchew every Sunday night and talk about radio. So let's talk about radio now.
Yeah.
Let me get your YouTube page up. Here we go. And let me put this in the chat. Yeah. So just so everyone knows what got me, how I discovered you was this YouTube video you sent out about 3 months ago. And it's called Old Ham New Gear, ATAS 120A and the Yaesu FT 710 Field. Yeah. And I just want to let everyone know here, this is 11,000 views in 3 months. So this video got out. It got out, Susan, whether you want to believe it or not.
It was a shock.
So what made you, well, let me back up a little bit. You started the channel with photography and video, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, bicycles. Bicycles and tricycles. I build electric bicycles and tricycles, and I filmed clear around the southern tip of Norway, hundreds of kilometers continuously on the bicycle path around the coast here, and all the other paths around here. This image here at the top of your YouTube channel is you on the bicycle, and I want to let's see this one right here. If you get them in order if you click videos, but.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. So here's the tricycle. And what did you have on your head? Can you explain that a little bit?
It's my camera, I think.
Yep.
I always have a camera on my head. I always have a camera on my head. I mount a camera on top of the helmet, but I've gone over about 4 or 5 years ago. I went over to 360 videos, 360-degree videos, which take weeks to render. Oh, yeah. And the whole way around the coast I've taken in 360, and I put most of it out in 360 so you can drag it around in a circle if you want to, but I made sure it pointed basically the way I was going.
Sorry, let me mute that.
Yeah.
So this is the view from your camera.
Yeah, and you can drag the thing sideways if you want to see it. Those may be the wide angle ones. I made a wide angle ones of them too, where you show almost 180 degrees. Wow. And then I made the same thing over again in 360, so you could look backwards or up and down if you so desire. But I figured people wanted to know what they're going to get into when they take these bicycle paths, because Google Maps, it covers roads. Yeah. But it doesn't really tell you what you're going to get into, or if it's paved, or they don't really film the places you go on bicycles in a lot of cases. Yeah. So, and it's fun. Yeah, this was a beautiful one. You took around the lake. I can't remember what lake this was, or if you said it. Yeah, look at this. This is beautiful. Oh yeah, that's on the way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of this. That's in the southern tip. Oh, there's a lot. Southern Norway is really pretty too. It hasn't got the massive mountains, but it's quite picturesque. That's very. So yeah, this has a lot of videos of that. There's about 200 of them.
I did follow a person who used to hike in Norway. And just some beautiful hikes, and there's got to be some beautiful country there. So I'm definitely watching your bicycle videos. I'm really interested in that. But Chris here had a question for you, Susan. What radio stuff are you into, and what radio stuff are you interested in learning?
The modes and things. I'm working on. I've been listening to CW practice tapes now. It seems like I haven't really forgotten it. I can pretty well read in my head about 20 words a minute, but I forget things, maybe my age, but if I don't write it down. So I'm trying to figure out how I can mount a computer keyboard here so I can write things down so I have things to remember, or maybe make notes. I don't know, but I'm probably going to go into CW basically.
think
But
that's my next thing to do, too.
sideband scares me.
Well, I would like to get back into CW. I did the CW Academy and got up to 20 words per minute, and then I didn't do anything with it because I live a lot in the UHF, VHF world, doing more of immersive communications and such. Greg from Japan is saying hello. All the way
Hey,
from,
welcome, Greg. Good to see you.
Yokohama, Japan. Good to have you on board. And Dee's comment on your videos is, that is wild. Google should pay you for your content.
Yeah, they should.
Definitely.
Let me bring this back up. So your station is the 710, and you don't do any CW currently, correct?
I've done one. I did work one guy down in Italy, but and that came out fine. And then we went out on field day. We didn't really do 2 days. We only did 1 day, but with a local club. And I worked about 10 people on CW and about the equivalent on sideband because I had an antenna. I made a 20-meter antenna the day before, and this guy had a fishing pole, and he threw it up over the top of the tree. That does make a difference. I mean, they're not short trees around here. Put that thing over that tree, and suddenly I had the world at my fingertips, at least 20 meters. I had Europe anyway, easily. And everybody I called answered. They responded. So I got through really well with that. So I know it's the antenna.
Definitely.
You had that rare Norway station.
I'm going to try to find this image of you. This is you installing an NFED on your roof.
Yeah, well, it didn't work, so we ran it over to a tree where it still doesn't work really very well. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, my son had to hold the ladder, so I said you can hold the telephone camera at the same time.
So I just want to say to all the guys, because I do the tower climbing here for our county, for our clubs.
Yeah.
And I've only got one other guy that will climb as high as I do to work with me.
Yeah.
So I just want to let everyone know, Susan here is climbing ladders on her roof, installing antennas. So you guys in my county have no excuse.
There you go.
I need help climbing. And we can get Susan over here. So yeah,
I don't mind.
I don't climb that well anymore. Like I say, this ladder was a little short, so he had to hold it. Otherwise, it probably would have tipped backwards. But I used to climb a lot on the ships. I made them let me put I secured the booms and things. I climbed the masts because I loved it.
Yeah,
I like climbing masts.
I don't mind climbing. I just don't like falling.
Well, I figure anything over 10 meters, it doesn't really matter.
That's right.
So this is
10
you
meters
throwing that
doesn't look high.
into the tree, I guess.
Yeah, it was a fishing line attached to it. The end fed was only 10 meters long. Okay. And when I finally got it tightened up and everything, it looked terrible over the stairs. So I ran it to the neighbor's tree anyway, over our garden. And I can pick up stuff on it, but I don't get out on it. It doesn't work very well. So I'm using the ATAS mostly for the other bands. And I did put up an 80-meter day before yesterday, a whip. And and I found out I have on 80 meters, I've got it on the transceiver. So, but it's like S7 noise level. So
yeah, 80's
I don't know where that's coming from. Oh, well, it's not I got the power supply is non-switching, so that's not the problem. And I've turned off the lights in the house. So I guess the next thing is to drag down a battery down the 44 steps, the battery I used on field day, and turned everything off. But I tried the football lights. It wasn't that. So I don't know the football field. I don't know what's making the noise. So I think I can screw in anything else. I can screw in a 20-meter Actually it's center fed antenna, and I can get a 20-meter one and screw it in there, and I'd probably get out a lot better than I do with the ATAS because it's longer.
So this is the 80-meter you're talking about? You just posted yesterday?
The 80-meter I put out yesterday, yeah, because I suspected there was a high noise level, but I couldn't really tune it, even though I have an antenna tuner that would practically tune my bicycle basket. I was pretty sure I had a high noise level. I just wanted 80, but obviously I'm not going to get 80 here probably.
There's your ladder assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's holding it.
And
you can see how steep it is.
I'll hold the ladder for you. There you go.
Yeah. No, because we could borrow a double ladder, but that's too complicated. So I just had him hold it, and he could take pictures too.
Well,
call for help if I fall.
Yeah, I've got an ATAS as well, and I'm going to make it a goal to try to QSO you at some point. So we're going to work on that. I know I've gotten others in Norway and Finland and Sweden in that area. So I think we can do it sometime.
Yeah, well, maybe on CW. I don't know. But I did pick up Brazil, but there was always a pile up, There's a pile up if you pick up Brazil or Louisiana or someplace. I hear them, but there's other people hear them too, and they've got a kilowatt.
Yeah, it's tough hearing those guys. It's kind of frustrating because they come in so loud and clear, and then you're struggling to get out.
Yeah, well, 100 watts probably be enough.
3533.
Yeah,
I got to watch that video.
I sawed it off, and I figured, well, if I'm not going on CW, I could at least tune it to the top of the band or the middle of the band where I could use it on phone better. Like I say, I could tune it probably with this antenna tuner, but I saw a video the other day, and they said if you want a perfect SWR, get a dummy load. So it doesn't make it into a good antenna.
No,
to get a good SWR.
Or a really long coax with a really thin. You get a good SWR. May not get anything to the antenna, but but you get a good SWR, yeah.
How high up is that wire hanging on your friend's tree?
It's probably about 16 feet in the middle and practically nothing on the ends.
Okay.
Because that's our sidewalk. We just got a sort of a sidewalk. It's not high enough. The end fit is not high enough. And the other one's probably about 10 feet? 10, 12 feet, something like that. Well, it's a little higher because it's the second part of the roof there. Okay. Maybe 12 feet. The 80.
And then this one here, if you want to explain this antenna.
Oh, that was my attempt to get on 2 meters. I finally decided, well, maybe I might be able to get the next town over 25 miles south because there wasn't a hill in the way. And then I started twisting it around in different directions and found out I could bounce it off the rock by the football field and probably 2 or 3 other rocks and eventually and then suddenly I got the repeater in like S7 in the local, the town north of us. So after 40 years, I found out I could get on 40 meters, and I didn't think there was a chance ever of getting on 40 meters. So I have people to talk to all the time. I can Ragchew there. 40 meters. I mean 2 meters. 2 meters. 2 meters is about the same as it ever was. It isn't gone digital so much or anything. Well, they had packets for a while, but basically they talk on it.
Yeah, and that's what you like to do.
And that's what I want to do.
Imagine that, someone getting a ham radio license and they like to talk.
Yeah, well, there's a contest every weekend here, basically in Europe, and all they want is a signal report. They don't even want your name, and it's
Yeah, the contests are.
that's
Yeah, it's
not
only good
hamming
for
for
getting
me.
points, I guess. It's
Yeah,
not real. It's not real fun in a way. It's not real. I mean, I do it most weekends. I do some kind of contest,
yeah.
but the fun is really talking. I think that's why VHF, UHF, repeaters, clubs, and stuff like that tends to be more fun and
Yeah.
more used.
Yeah. I think maybe if I get a little better antenna, I'll find some people that want to Ragchew too.
Now you're in a club, you said, right?
Yeah, the
You're
local
more
club.
active again.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's part of it. Well, I tried going to that club once about 30 years ago, but I only went one time, and I wasn't active, and I didn't have 2 meters, so I didn't follow it up.
Now, is this
So
the repeater that you're hitting for that club, or is the club closer?
yeah, that's the club's repeater. It's a lot closer.
Okay.
It's about 10 miles, and I don't know how the signal's getting there, but it's bouncing off a few of the hills and getting there.
Yeah,
It's getting there. That's all that matters.
that's right.
Yeah. So
And then here's
So
your 2 meter
as-
setup.
We
Yeah.
learned one time. We learned one time we were having trouble getting the repeater direct, and we had the hex beam pointed right at the repeater. Something was in the way, but
yeah,
we were stationed near Texas Motor Speedway, so we decided to turn the hex beam to the stands, or the Yagi to the stands, not the hex beam. I just read hex beam, that's why I'm saying that. The Yagi towards
Yeah.
the stands, and we reflected off the stands of Texas Motor Speedway and got installed in the repeater. So RF is a quirky thing. It really is.
yeah. Well, I never thought about the football field until I started playing with the antenna and said, "What's it doing now? How come I'm getting the repeater?" And
Right.
then I realized it was the mountain behind the football field doing it for me.
Just want to let you know all this. This is her stairway.
Good
So-
God.
In the winter. Well,
In the
not
winter,
all
yeah.
winter.
But no more complaining here in Texas. My heat, I don't like the heat and humidity. I'm from Idaho. So I look at
Yeah.
this picture and love it, but this seems treacherous to walk up and down.
Well, we had to have the neighbors dig out our door. Well, the neighbor under us, the boy,
Yeah.
he came and dug out the front door because
Oh, that's good.
I mean, we had telephones. We could have called for one of my kids to do it.
We gripe about times we get snow because we don't have the infrastructure to handle stuff like that. That's a totally different.
No.
We can handle heat.
Well,
We're
Yeah.
very well versed in heat, but that's not so much.
So,
So you-
Chris has that question. Let's pull that up.
Yeah, I pulled it up a little bit earlier, but he says I saw the scroll song. So do you do woodworking as well? And I think you mentioned that you build bicycles and tricycles.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How many of you guys have a QTH, have a shack with those tools hanging around?
It's the water heater room. It's it's I have to have everything in this room, and I sort of stole it. I made a shelf with all the tools up over my head. The other day I caught my husband in here trying to fish something. He's 87, and he was hanging onto that shelf. I said, "I don't think that's a good idea. if you lose your balance
Yeah.
and drag that shelf down on you, because I've got ratchet sockets and screwdrivers and wrenches, all boxes for everything, and it's not light.
So
So
you do build bicycles and tricycles?
I've built probably about 10 electric. I have 3 electric bicycles and 2 or 3 electric tricycles in the garage right now. I've taken over the garage. I stole it.
That is very cool. And
There's
by the
no
way,
electricity there.
Greg in Japan mentioned he would love for you to come to ride the Shaman. Okay, Paul, say it. Paul.
The Shimanami Kaido.
There you go. Bicycle route in Japan. Very famous, very beautiful. So you get an invitation for Greg to come to Japan. So
I use motors on mine, of course. I crashed it a while back and had to get an artificial knee. So the pedaling isn't quite as good as it was. But I've always used the electric ones because of my age. Well, I'm 77. But my son was in Japan because he studied. That was his major. So he studied Japan. And he's been translating videos and comic books since he was 12 from Japanese into English here. And so he speaks, and he went to New Zealand to study Japanese, but they sent him as an exchange student to Japan. So he speaks it like a native.
So here's the irony of it all. Paul speaks Japanese.
He spoke like a native about 30 years ago.
No, but he does speak. Yeah.
So.
Huh? Yeah.
Paul lived there for 2 to 3 years. So.
Yeah,
I lived there for a couple of years, came back and maintained it pretty good and worked for the airlines and still speak it. But because of the lack of opportunity to speak it, I've forgotten a lot of vocabulary. But
you've got internet now. Matthias is always speaking Japanese on internet.
Yep.
You don't need to screw on a radio all the time anymore to do it.
Duolingo. And speaking of internet, Kelly's
that's what I was going to say. Go ahead. Good question, Kelly.
She has used All-Star to connect to repeaters in other parts of the world. So have you used All-Star yet?
No, they use Fusion here, but I haven't gotten that far.
Okay.
I'm doing Fusion. Things that they use it. I don't, but I can. I just haven't figured it out yet.
91A, isn't it, behind you? Is that
FG5GP? Thank you. Welcome.
So.
What do you know? What's the room number or room name for that Club Fusion repeater? Would you know that by chance?
No, I don't.
We have a Fusion repeater here in the club. We can connect anytime.
Yeah, we have multiple Fusion repeaters. We have a series repeater linked all the way from Denton, which goes to the Oklahoma border, all the way down to Austin, and also down I-45 to Houston. And you can just switch repeaters and keep talking to your friends nonstop.
Well, they've done that here too. They've hooked up all the repeaters in the southeast corner of Norway together. So we have a big one in Kristiansand. We have one north of us. We have one north of that again. We have one inland. I think there's about 5 big repeaters that are all hooked together. And if you get into one, you get into all of them. So that's handy too. And they have some local repeaters that don't send to the other repeaters too.
And that system's called the Texas Nexus, is what we call that RAM.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we got about 13 or so connected here in Texas.
Yeah, I think there's about 5 here or 6, something like that. But they're really good.
Yeah, if you ever get on it and get on Texas Nexus, it's usually one of the more populated ones. So it'll be near the top if you search for a number of people in the room. And get on there and you'll get the repeaters here near us. So maybe we can QSO via Wires X sometime.
Yeah, that might be. Wires X, yeah. I've never heard of that yet, but I haven't gone that far. I haven't really got into the digital. They say FTA, so no, not yet. But I did take the radio course and take the test over again because, of course, when I got my license, they really didn't have 5 1/4-inch floppies on the market yet. so
I've still got a few of those in my box out in the garage. 3.5.
I see some 3.5s around the house. Every now and then I'm like, oh, there's a piece of history. And some young kid will say, oh, that's a save button.
I'll show you something I dug out of the closet the other day. You know these?
Oh wow. Is that a
It's a Simpson multimeter.
Let me bigging you up here. Wow, look at that.
Simpson. Yeah.
That's a big.
And that's what everybody used back in the 70s, 60s, 50s.
Look at that. Chris Bricker knew it. Looks like Don knew it. They recognized it.
Yeah,
and you built something when you were younger too, and gave it to your mother.
Well, I built a Heathkit linear on the boat. Yeah.
Yeah. How many of you guys can say you built a linear amplifier?
So
I didn't really need it.
you were a ham since the 60s, and your parents
Yeah,
were
early
hams
60s.
back before the war, was it, or during the war?
Yeah. Well, my father was before the war. I think he was back to 37,
Okay.
and my mother was 1941. I think I got the call signals here, but he was W9 UOF, and she was W9 KSA. But they changed their license when they went to California because you had to do it back then.
Right.
You had
So,
to change.
yeah, you had to have your license by the region you presently
Yeah.
live. And then when
Yeah.
it used to be like if I went into like Foreland or whatever, I had to identify W4 stroke K, my call sign. And it was
Yeah,
real.
that's one of the reasons why I like that. Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah,
exist
sorry.
anymore. So but very cool. Very cool.
Let me pull this up, Susan. Tell us a little bit about this.
Oh, that's my mother's and my father's QSL card, although she did most of the talking. She drew that picture. That's supposed to be me chasing my sister. I'm going to make a modification of that. I've got to take out my father because my husband has trouble with the television control. And I'm going to put a picture of my son pounding something to pieces on the floor there. I have to draw another little corner. But I'm going to modify that card. I don't have a QSL card yet. So.
I love that card. That's great.
Yeah, that's great. And the fact that she
War,
drew that's amazing.
My mother drew that one, yeah.
During World War II,
And I'm afraid yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, during World War II, they actually suspended amateur radio during the war. But they kept amateur radio operators apprised. I mean, the QSTs were still going out from the ARRL and all that. But, they would activate them if there was a local emergency on, I believe it was 2.5 meters, whatever frequencies those are.
Yeah.
But I bet your parents had some stories to tell.
They had a lot.
So,
Chris is asking if that's magic smoke coming out of the radio there.
It's magic or not.
Myself, that's
but we had a 2-meter homebrew that was like that, and we also had a KW one that looked like that too. They really did look like that. You had to be careful in the garage. I put my hand on the funnel on the 2-meter, and I think it was 500 volts, and I didn't do that twice. I thought my sister had hit me. She was standing there with a stick, and I said, "Why did you hit me?" No.
I just think that's great that both call signs are on that. What an amazing card. So,
yeah, it's a nice card. But I think it'll make a good one for me.
My mom's 84. She got her GMRS. She checks in once a week for her church weekly GMRS net. And my dad did CB when I was younger, but nobody, I'm the only ham except for one brother. That's so cool, though. I love that card.
It's original anyway.
It's a classic.
Yeah, there's a page on internet, I think, that has old QSL cards. I think I may send in a copy of it.
You should, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely
because
is an original.
Yeah.
Harriet.
Unusual. Yeah, she was Harriet because she was supposed to be Harry Jr., but she wasn't. So it was spelled that way.
Oh, yeah.
So
is one of your, is that you or your sister chasing the other sister with a...
that's supposed to be me. I'm the oldest one. Yeah.
Oh, so you're chasing your younger sister with the soldering iron.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Weller.
It's after she thought she hit her, so she's chasing her to get her back.
Not unrealistic either. I did things like that.
So right now, what are you doing most as far as radio? Are you transmitting on a specific frequency other than 2 meter? Are you doing anything HF?
Well, I'm not using I've only talked about 7 or 8 people plus the field day on this one because I've been building antennas, but I'm also listening. I'm going to go to CW, I think. So I got a key, but it's one of those German keys, junkers, I think they're called. But I decided my fist is pretty awful, so I ordered what they call a paddle now and what I call a keyer. And it was ordered 3 weeks ago, and they say, it's going to be there by Monday, so we'll see. I may just get on CW instead because sideband scares me, and it's full of people on weekends on contests. So, and I don't have a QSL card. That's a problem too.
I don't either. I've been a ham for how long, Paul? 2011?
16, 15 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
And I've yet to get a QSL card. Don's asking, did your parents ever work any famous hams like Barry Goldwater or King Hussein? Or do you know?
Yeah, she knew, probably knew Goldwater because we flew on his airplane once down to San Diego to do something.
Oh, wow.
So she went because she didn't fly it as a pilot, but we were both, I and my mother were on board that one. So I don't know who else she knew. She knew a lot of people. She was really active.
Once you get the QSL card done, you need to be writing all these stories down. You need to write a book, compilation.
Oh, right. I don't know if I'm much better at writing than I am at speaking.
Find a ghostwriter or something. That you got some great stories there. Some incredible stories.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm gonna.
But apparently it appeals.
We're gonna try to QSO you, and we can, we'll chat through email or whatever. And once you get back on a band, 40 or 20, we'll figure it out. It can be a weekday. I don't need to do it on a weekend.
Yeah. I have my doubts about that, but I have gotten on 15 meters. I do hear the America once in a while.
All right.
But after midnight, I don't get anybody after midnight. Nothing. But I'm still working on antennas. I'm playing with the idea of trying a magnetic loop, either building one or because I can plaster it into the wall and the neighbors can't see it much. They don't want anything sticking
in a window in hotels because no one can see it.
But and it goes sideways, so it'll go sort of in the right direction. That's the next antenna probably. In the meantime, I'm listening to CW about 1 or 2 hours a day on the videos, YouTube videos. Like I say, I can apparently copy it, but my memory isn't too good. And if they say like MNI for many, what's that? Because
there's a lot of shortcuts.
There's things that have changed. MNI is different. They say TKS for thanks half of the time.
Yeah.
And the transceivers are different. The numbers are different.
Yeah.
So I don't register when I come with a bunch of numbers. I don't register. So I have to figure out some way to write it down, I think.
Well, Don is saying that 15 and 10 are sometimes open after midnight, which kind of surprised me. BK and ZL lands were allowed on 10 meters last night. Antarctica too.
Well, the hams around here are getting all sorts of stuff right now. But like I say, the antenna and the chicken wire isn't, we don't really have a ground because we're built on a rock.
Yeah. Right.
It's a long ways to the nearest dirt, which is probably still about 15 feet, 20 feet. And I'm the deepest it can get it.
Under the attach.
I put chicken wire there. It's not chicken wire. It's actually galvanized and welded netting. So it doesn't have the problems that real chicken wire has. But it's not going to move and it's not going to rust. And but I can't put it on the porch or anything because my husband would never forgive me if I did that.
Chris is being a little mischievous here. He's saying just put it behind their kitchen so you can turn on and off their appliances.
Yeah.
I've changed
Yeah.
cable box channels before on the cable boxes around here with just 200 watts, so it could be done.
Yeah. Yeah, I could run a better cable too. I sort of guessed the length of the coax, and I used RG58, which is kind of cruddy. But so I could put better coax on the antennas probably too. But that means I've got to figure out a different way to make. I got to make more holes through this brick wall, and that is
Well,
not
that's
easy.
always fun.
Oh, that's great fun. And like you come out through the leg to the table, you know. There's only one little place where there's a leg for a table, but that's where it came out. So,
Susan, do the clubs in your area? We have you're well aware of Field Day, which is huge in America, and now we have winter.
yeah,
Field
we
Day
have
because it's too hot.
we had a field day now about 2 weeks ago. It was Europe.
Okay, so Europe does Field Day over here.
So they had a but we didn't go out. They got cold, so they said, "Are you going to stay all night?" And I said, "Not alone." so it was just one day, but they had a lot of fun. We had about 15 people there or something in the park.
Wow. That's pretty cool. But do they have them in buildings at all, or in the U.S. it's whatever you want to consider a field day?
Oh, it used to be in the woods with tarantulas running up your shovels in California.
That was the old days of field day.
I will never forget the time the tarantula ran up my mother's shovel at field day. She didn't like tarantulas. So, no, that was always out in the stoolies before. I did buy a battery for it, though, and I did I take this with me, and I took my CW key, and I took the microphone, and I lost the cable for the antenna tuner.
Oh,
but I found out that the cable for these Asus is actually just straight through. It's a straight through cable. It's straight through cable. It's a mini DIN.
Yeah.
And you can just replace it with a regular cheap cable. So you don't really have to buy it, but nobody tells you that, you know.
No, they want you to spend $30.
They want you to. It's more like 50 or 60 here, and you can't get them. You have to order them from out of the country. So I took a chance. I got one that had a 90-degree angle, and it's a little hard to fit in next to the coax. So I'm getting one that's straight in, but otherwise a regular one will work. It's a straight through serial one. So if anybody else loses theirs.
Donna suggested.
They know.
I'm sorry. Donna suggested.
No, I'm sorry.
Faraday cloth rather than chicken wire. No, it's okay. We're on a delay, so we can't really hear when one ends and the other starts. So that's okay. So he's saying, have you tried a Faraday?
Well, if you're taking it apart, no, because this is going up here and staying there until I move.
Right.
It's nothing I'm going to roll up and put away or anything. I have that little patch of roof, so that's covered with the chicken wire, and it's not going to blow away or anything. It's not going to rust.
Right. Dee is saying, at least around my friend in Scotland, his ham shack, he's got 2 foot thick stone walls in his place. So that would be a lot. And
no, but this.
Chris, I agree. Field day needs to be in the fall. Fall would be wonderful for field day. That makes the most sense, actually.
Not here. They froze. We had it in the fall. Everybody went home.
June would be great in Norway. It's probably beautiful in June, right?
Yeah, but it's probably going to be about 40 degrees cooler than it is wherever you are.
I would love that.
It doesn't really ever get really warm here. I mean, usually.
I've been to Sweden and Finland, but not Norway. And I love the climate at that latitude.
Fall has just started. Right now it's 43 degrees.
It's 76 degrees here in Texas.
Yeah,
it's
43
here. 9:21 p.m. here.
It's going to be back in the 90s this week, though, in Texas.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not happy about that.
Let's see. You've got the 710. How you liking the 710? A lot of people using that and love it.
It's wonderful, but I don't really have an ear for sideband, so I've been looking at these external DSPs that you can buy one that gets rid of some of the noise. Of course, they cost about several $100, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think I'll stick with CW.
There's some high-end headset. There's some high-end headsets that you can. It doesn't sound great, but it helps you listen to the SSB a little bit better.
My son loaned me his $150 earphones, and I found out that that's better than speakers too. It doesn't get rid of the noise so much, but you hear better. You hear CW really well, and the neighbors don't hear. And the neighbors don't hear the CW, which they would in this apartment.
Well, I think with the Heil headsets,
Sorry.
With the Heil window. With the Heil headsets, it's not a full range headset like a standard headset is, but it will get maybe the higher pitch noises or sometimes a lower pitch. He's got little switches on it, and that helps isolate the voices on SSB. So,
yeah.
Susan, have you checked YouTube? See if someone has a tutorial on the DSP and the filtering on the 710, like best settings or whatever.
Oh, I've gone through all of those. It turns out the microphone sounded pretty awful to start with, and I set the microphone with YouTube videos, the most popular ones, I figured. But I know how to use them. I just I don't really have an ear for sideband, and you can hear things louder than I can. I haven't got that good an antenna. Yeah, really.
Well, mine's not great. Mine's a Hustler vertical. I converted it into a flagpole, so my HOA can't say anything. Yeah.
It's we had the neighbors don't want antennas. There used to be antennas everywhere. You know, when my husband bought the house, we had TV antennas and parabolic antennas and things all over the place. I even had a tri-band vertical at one point, but it blew over. Blew off the roof. And that was the end of that one.
And it's hard for you up on that roof area where you've got your antenna, but when I grounded my antenna, it did cut out a lot of noise.
Well, I do ground it. It's just a little bit of a double loudspeaker wires. The whole mess is grounded, but I don't know if that helps much in this case.
We're at the top of the sun cycle. I think we can make a QSO, so I'm going to be working on that going forward.
I'm working on a better QTH, actually.
Now, if you're doing CW, though, I'm going to have to use the memory keys and the translations on my radio because I can't do that yet.
That's cheating, isn't it?
He'll do a signal exchange, and that's it.
I've got my paddle, a Vibroplex paddle. I joined the Long Island CW Club and want to start doing it, but I just seem so busy. I can't set regular, weekly, daily time to practice. So,
well, there's a bug here somewhere. I had a wonderful bug with clothespins on it. make it go slower. But I don't know where that's gone. I have no idea.
Yeah, I like my Vibroplex. It's called the Brass Racer. It's a nice little paddle.
I'm going to. I should get a paddle probably tomorrow, and then I might dare to go out on CW.
I'll tell you what you should do, Susan, is maybe look into live streaming some of those operations. Live stream to your YouTube channel and let people watch while you CW.
Well, I might. I don't know if they want to see me trying to. I don't know if I want them
I'd watch it.
to hear me.
If you haven't done it, have your son help. Get yourself a live stream set up, and I don't know, it's kind of fun.
Oh, I could do that, but I don't know if anybody want to watch it. I like to edit out and stuff too, you know.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Chris has got your back, Paul.
Yeah, Chris Chris is saying if I use tools available, it's not cheating. So if my radio decodes, I'm not really cheating.
Yeah, when I found out you could actually use the code would be printed out, I thought my first reaction was, "Oh, that's cheating." But
So what is a
tempting,
Bama
maybe.
key, Chris? I haven't heard that.
What?
A Bama
Bama
key.
key?
What is that?
Chris is going to have to explain that one. And Don's right here. He says people like to watch people learning. I was actually going to start a live stream series as I learn CW.
I was thinking about doing a video on getting back into CW after 40
Yeah.
years.
You
I just
should.
remember.
And maybe putting it.
I just remember all
Sorry.
the dits I give out because I keep messing everything up. So if you mess up, you just hold the paddle down.
Yeah, you have to do it this way now with the ski. But I may make a video about the bicycle too, about radio from a bicycle, tricycle.
It's an iambic key, and it's a type of CW key from Europe.
Yeah.
So
let me give you, I'm going to email you a name. It's a YouTube channel. His name is Wes, but his YouTube channel is Mr. Mudd's Radio. He does HF QSOs from a bicycle.
Oh, yeah?
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And I've had him on the show. He's great. He's got his own channel. He does a lot of interesting, fun things like that. But he does HF QSOs while riding his bicycle and live streaming it.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's interesting.
I'll send you a link to his channel.
Yeah, I'll watch that. Yeah. Yeah. That'll be fun.
We're coming up on an hour here, and I don't want to keep you up too much later. It's 4:30 a.m. I think your time, right?
Yeah, about that time. But it doesn't matter.
We're having.
You don't get too many chats, do you?
Well, it's like I said, my channel's not big. It's growing, but it's not big. We got a few regulars on tonight. Right now, we got 11 people watching.
Oh, really?
But,
yeah.
The more videos you put out, the more it builds. So just keep putting more videos out, whether it's about the tricycle or CW or whatever. Just keep putting videos up.
Susan, you're actually streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So we're streaming on all three today.
Yeah.
Question from Dawn here. Have you tried SSTV?
What's that?
Slow scan TV.
No. Slow scan. Yeah, no, I haven't tried anything like that.
I haven't
tried anything exotic. Yeah, nothing exotic yet. I'm going for the stuff that I still remember from the dark ages.
So don't forget to check out her channel and subscribe. She's also got a really cool gimbal video. She made a gimbal with, I think, what was it, rollerblade wheels?
Yeah, roller. Yeah, I've still got some of them around here, I think. Yeah. No,
So
I make things all the time. I make, things to take down smoke detectors with a plumber's helper and things like that.
Yep.
I made videos about things. It works.
Yeah, I was blown away by that gimbal. It's that was crazy invention.
No, I made sliders and gimbals and everything like that.
Yeah, you said you had interest in that, right? The moving cameras and all that?
Yeah, I made my own. Yeah, I bought some too, but I made mine first. So it's just kind of, you understand it better if you do it yourself, make it your own first.
Pendants. And I didn't even see that one. You make photo pendants.
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
So check out her stuff.
You can make a picture. I made a lot of glass before, but then I found out with these things you can make any picture. Like this is a photograph. It's a painting I made, and then I just put it into a pendant, And you can put anything on a pendant. You just buy the glass and glue it down. There's a technique to it to keep the bubbles out, though.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris is asking me when I'm going to do a 360 video climbing a tower, but I don't have a 360 camera.
Chris,
I'm sure a lot of people do.
Chris, if you'll check out this channel, it's Andrew Koenig, however you pronounce it.
Koenig.
Koening. Check out his channel. He's got a 360 video when he was up on Roston, which is a 2,000-foot tower. He was up on the 1,500-foot platform doing some stuff there. So we got amateur radios at 1,500 and 1,700 feet on that tower. So go check that video out. It'll make you a little queasy because he's turning around constantly with that 360, and it's way up there. It is way up there. But Susan, I need to refer my friend Marcy to you. She's got a channel called Marcy Creates, and she makes jewelry all the time on YouTube. And that's kind of a cool thing, photo pendants. Sorry about that.
No, but they're fun.
I'm adding your call sign to my ham alerts, so if anyone ever spots you, I'll know you're on.
Oh yeah, I don't know how that works yet, but it took me a while to get into QRZ because they didn't like it that I had my old call sign in there from way back when.
Oh yeah.
And I finally convinced them apparently that I have a different call sign now.
So LA0CY, and check out the podcast on QSO today. It's on her QRZ page and her YouTube channel, Sue Nord #1.
Well, if you go into the radio videos, are also links are for them on the QRZ channel, the radio ones.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, it goes right into it. Yeah. Is it a playlist there?
Yeah. There's 4 of them there. Yeah.
Got it. So check that out, guys. Let's give her some support and listen for her in the near future. See if we can get a QSO with her. Get rid of that.
Yeah, good luck.
We'll see. I have hope. High solar cycle. We're good.
Yeah, well, I did hear Louisiana.
Antenna.
That is debatable, but we can try. I did hear Louisiana pretty strong, but they had a beam and a linear.
I might get actually, when I'm in Japan, I've got an infed hanging out the hotel room. I might have a better chance doing that.
Yeah.
Because I think my hotel window faces your direction, so I actually might be better.
Yeah, 15 and 20 is open to a lot of stuff, and 10 occasionally too.
Mm-hmm. Do you see any Japan at all?
I haven't seen any Japans, no, but I've heard South America. I've heard Louisiana. I get Italy and Spain almost all the time, and a few Russians I hear.
Okay.
But nobody near me. I mean, I'm skipping right over everybody.
I guess, yeah, you must be skipping over them all because there's a lot of activity in Europe.
Yeah. But I hear North Africa too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And Don, Andrew was on my video last week, so if you haven't caught it, it's the high altitude balloon launch. And sorry, there was a little audio mixing issue in the beginning of the video, when Andrew's first talking. But that was a lot of fun hanging out with him and chasing balloons, high altitude balloons. Did they do anything like that in Norway, where they do a high altitude balloon launch with radio repeaters on it? Does your club?
No, not that our club doesn't do anything like that anyway. Yeah.
We launched one not last Saturday, but Saturday before. Went up to 111,817 feet. I had to think about it. 111,817 feet before the balloon popped, and it came down on a parachute. So
wow,
pretty cool. Yeah. So he was talking about Andrew there. That was on my channel last week. So
yeah, let me pull that up real quick. I'll put a link in the chat. That was a really good video on the balloon. I wanted to be there, but I had multiple things that day and just couldn't.
And I actually have a corrected video, and I thought about taking this video to private and putting the corrected video up in its place. And YouTube's not playing well with that, so I don't think they like that.
Let me post this here. All right, guys, we're a little over an hour, so we're going to start winding it down. And if there's any other questions for Susan before we let her go, post them now, and we'll get those answered. Let's see, get that up. Let me post hers one more time. And I'll post hers one more time. This is to the video section, so it's in order. And then I suggest you do some live streams. When you get on, you're doing some operating, get on and just set it up and just let it run.
Yeah, I've never done a live stream before.
See, I'm your 635th subscriber.
Yeah, that's doubled in the last 2 months, because of the radio videos.
That radio video and QSO today probably gave you a big boost.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's why you should keep making them. People are interested.
Yeah, I'm going to make more radio videos, because sometimes you have a video that you use several weeks to edit and render, and 50 people see it in 5 years. So.
Well, see, that's the beauty of live stream. You don't have to do any of that. Just turn the camera on, turn the live stream on, and turn it off when you're done. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. No more questions, I guess. 6:36 now. You're going up.
Chris just subscribed.
Oh, I got a subscription. That's nice.
So, Chris is out in Ohio area. So.
Yeah.
All right, Susan. Well, we're going to shut this down. Don't leave the StreamYard till after I stop the live stream, and we'll talk before we let you go. So it's going to minimize you and mute you, but hang in there. And thank you so much for joining us. It took us a couple of months, but we made it happen. Yeah,
thank you for inviting me.
And I think that's the way it's going to be with our queue. So it may take a few months, but we're going to make it happen.
Well,
I'm going to be.
I'll give it a try, but I sort of have my doubts.
I'm going to be one of your first QSL card recipients. I'm
predicting that. Well, if I get to, okay.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us on all the great questions, and your support is greatly appreciated. We'll be back next Sunday with the preparedness topic. It's the first Sunday of October. Almost said November. First Sunday live stream is about preparedness. I'm hoping to get a gentleman that has a big YouTube channel about gardening and hydroponics. He is the premier expert, in my opinion. And I don't have him here, but last week on his live stream, I actually won some seeds. He did a contest, and I just got him in yesterday, some microgreen seeds. So hopefully I can get him on. Otherwise, it'll be some other preparedness topic. Michael, you got something coming up this week?
This weekend, I did a preparedness event. I actually participated. I did a video, and we'll be doing another one this Thursday at the University of North Texas, just engaging people about the ARES program, the Amateur Radio Emergency Service. I know you were part of that at one time. You mentioned that on the podcast. And looking forward to that. And hopefully this Saturday we'll be out filming again. So looking forward to seeing you all next week.
All right. And for Chris, I completely forgot my sound effects should be working. So this is what my sound effects is going to go for you, Susan, on whether or not you should live stream CW. Here it comes.
Just do it.
There you go. He finally got it working.
I got my sound effect. Just do it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Susan. Thanks, everyone. 73s, and we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Ragchew.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.